What's up, Closer Nation? It's your boy Stewman. Here we are again with another episode of Hardcore Closer Podcast. And, I'm feeling fancy today. I got a computer in front of me. If you're not watching, you're missing out. You can watch this on YouTube, where I have like 100,000 subscribers and a verified channel. Know what the fuck is going on over there, but it's pretty awesome, right? Anyway, shout out to the YouTube Nation, the Closer support staff over in the YouTube Nation. Appreciate you guys. You know, this week, I'm going to talk to you about sales. Like modern day sales. I'm going to talk to you about the mindset of the consumer, because the more you understand the mindset of the consumer, the more you can sell to them. Okay? So today, I'm going to help you sell more by helping you understand more, which understanding is the key to sales, because there's two things you need to sell. But we're going to get back to that in a few minutes. You can't sell shit if you don't have leads, right? Like, you can't sell shit if you don't have leads. I don't care if you're the smoothest talking, fastest walking, best customer stalking motherfucker on the planet. If you don't got leads, you're not going to get rich. You can be the best salesperson in the world, but if you don't know how to generate leads, then you're not going to get. You can have the best follow-up game, but if you ain't got nobody to follow up with, you're going to be broke. You're going to have skinny kids. You're going to starve to death. So how do you get leads? Listen, some people, they do crazy shit, like they knock on doors, they call strangers, like, hello, stranger, would you like to buy what I'm selling? The fuck, Hope I didn't catch you at a bad time. When is a good time to call somebody? They spam people. You know who spams people, right? Viagra and Southwest Airlines. That's who spams people. I don't know what kind of spam you get. Surely you get the Southwest Airlines shit, right? You're a little young for the Viagra stuff, but they find me. They find people 42 and they go, he probably got a problem, which really says a lot about the state of things right now. Anyway, back, not my state of things. My state of things are fine if anybody asks. I'm just talking about the overall state of things, since I get all these goddamn Viagra emails and stuff. Never even have been remotely shopping online for Viagra, but they show up every day as if they just think that I need them. All right, back to the point. The leads come from online searching, meaning people are searching for something, information, an article, a video. They're looking for a solution, and you be the solution to their problem, aka your service, right? Because that's what we do as salespeople. We solve a problem, and that's what we get paid for, okay? So let me give you an example. You make a website with phonesites.com, the best website creation software on the planet. Like you probably sit there and think, yeah, well, he's saying make a website, but I don't know how to do that. That's what this program's for. Phone Sites is just for you. If that was the first thought in your mind, it's like, I don't know how to make a website. This is the shit that will turn that self-doubt, not understood, self-destructive wording that you just put in your head. I don't know how to fix a website. I don't know how to make a website. It'll have that gone in 10 minutes or less. You ain't got to watch an instructional video with some Ben Stein, red-eyed motherfucker that's boring as shit. That's not some animated, feel-good cartoon, unicorn pooping ice cream video bullshit either. You go right through there, follow a few steps. Next thing you know, wham, bam, bing, you got a fucking funnel, a.k.a. a website that collects leads so that you got people to talk to so that you can sell more of your shit. I don't know what else you want from me, guys. I don't know what else you want from me, because that fucking solves a lot of problems. Okay, so go to phonesites.com/closer, and you can get a free trial. I believe in this shit so much. They give you a free trial. Then on top of that, you think, well, okay, I can make a website, but I don't know how to make graphics. Done, right? Then you think, well, I can make a website, but I don't know what to write on there. We even have software where you just type in some keywords and it'll fucking write for you. I have idiot-proof the internet, guys. Just go over to phonesites.com/closer and try to prove me wrong. Do it. You got a free shot at proving me wrong and saying that you could prove me wrong and get a free shot at saying that you couldn't build a website. I dare you. So let's talk about sales. The old way of selling with high pressure and bothering people and all that, like pressureful handling objections. Look, I think it's fun, but it's kind of like rodeo. And what I mean is, a lot of people don't know this, so I'm really going to fuck up a lot of people just saying this shit, right? But like cowboys, the Oregon Trail, Western Trail, the cattle drives and roping and riding and all that shit, like that really wasn't needed for very long. Like they didn't need horses for very long. A lot of people don't understand this, but it was like a couple of decades at most, right? We think it was a whole ass fucking dawn of time era. Motherfuckers were born on horses here in America, right? But that's not the case. It was a short period of time. And college Graduate, do you know why it was a short period of time that we used horses only? They're replaced by the fucking train. Because why would you want to use a horse when you can load a whole shitload of cattle into a trailer and a train and then get it there like 3 times as fast without risking your life, right? So as soon as there was a cattle drive, that lasted a couple decades in the train. But here's what happens, right? Now, all of a sudden, these ranchers that were used to making all this money from supplying them with cattle and going on the drive, because you got a rancher, then you've got the cattlemen. These guys make all this money. They got replaced by a train. They got outsourced by the first set of robots, if you think about it, right? They got outsourced by robots. So they said, how the fuck are we going to make money? And they said, rodeo. We're going to create a rodeo, and we're going to show off our skills and go all around the world and people, or all around the country, and show people our skills since they're no longer needed on the trail. And that's how rodeo was born, right? They got out of a job and they got innovated, and they said, we'll turn what we used to do for a living to survive into entertainment. So I say that because the old school pressure way of sales is like rodeo, right? The shit worked great for a few decades, in our case, maybe a century. But the shit is not going to work in the future, and it's no longer needed. Why? The consumer's smarter, first of all. You think, let's say that you're a 50-year-old car dog, okay? I'm not shitting on you, but I'm just saying, let's say that you're a 50-year-old car guy that's listening to this right now. You've been selling cars for 50 years. You're in the finance department, general manager, even sales guy on the floor still. It don't matter, right? Whatever fancy you are, you're out there, and you've been selling cars forever. You think you're going to haggle with some 23-year-old that's coming in there to buy their second or third car? Fuck no. They know more about that car than you do. They have researched it. They know what all the competitive bids are. They probably got a fucking coupon in their phone when they come in at some point, giving a code to get special financing and everything else, because they know how to put that together. You're not going to be able to beat them. They're not even trying to beat you. They're just trying to find the best deal for themselves, and they know what keywords to use to get it. They've grown up with the internet. My kids have grown up with the internet. The guys and gals that are 25 and below grew up with the internet their whole entire life. People that are 35 to 40 grew up with the internet majority of their life and understand it. The only people that don't fucking know the internet are you, the 50-year-old car guys, which is obsolete because you had all this fucking time to learn it, okay? I see people all the time that are in their 50s and 60s, and they say, you know, I don't know about all this Facebook shit. It's like, man, you know, you're right. It's been around for 15 years when you were a lot younger and better looking. Fuck, you wasted your time, you know? Shit, it may not work for you anymore. Like, damn it, Grandpa, right? I'm just being real. Not shitting on anybody because of age. I'm just saying they haven't watched you age. They're like, where's this old man coming out of nowhere at? That's what I'm saying. The consumer's smarter. They know where to go to what websites to get pricing. We can't hide prices from them anymore. We can't lie to them. We can't give them excuses. They know. They've got us backed into a corner because of their intelligence. So how do you expect to do some pressureful, emotional, like, you know, BS sales tactic and it worked? I probably said this on this podcast a million fucking times, but Zig Ziglar tells a story about going to his wife's family for Christmas to eat, right? And first year they're married, his wife, he called her the redhead. They go to the family for Christmas and goes in the kitchen, and the ends of the ham are missing, right? The ham's in the pan, and the ends of the ham are cut off. And he looks at his wife and says, why y'all cut the ends of the ham off? She goes, well, my mom always did it, so I do it. He looks at the mom, he says, well, why you always cut the ends of the ham off? She goes, well, my mom always did it, so I do it. He looks at the grandma, he says, well, why did you cut the end? She goes, I don't know why they do it, but I never had a pan big enough. I could never afford a pan big enough to hold a whole ham, so I had to cut it off. So they were carrying on a tradition. I say that because in the mortgage world, people would always approach me and they'd say, hey, what's your best rate? It's like, where'd you learn that? What's what my dad said? Where'd you learn it? Well, that's what my dad said, right? The fucking rate is like right now everybody's like, oh my God, interest rates. Like, what you mean, oh my God, interest rates? Interest rates went up like a half a point to a point and y'all are freaking out, but nobody gave a fuck that real estate doubled in 2 fucking years. The whole fucking country's real estate doubled in value in 2 years. Nobody says a fucking word, but interest rates go up a quarter point. These fucking morons worry all about it. What do you think's more expensive, Cade? Fucking double the price of a house or a quarter point of interest over fucking 30 years?
Go with the house.
Yeah. But nobody fucking said a word, did they? No, they never. Fuck. You know why? Because much like the fucking way they cook that ham, You guys have been programmed to look for the rate. The only reason I broke that program, and look, I'm not saying that I'm some super fucking genius that's tapped into the matrix that you guys aren't. Like, that's not the case. I used to work in this industry, so I had to figure out angles to fucking break that stigma inside of people's fucking mind the hard way, the old way, what would now be the inefficient way, right? I used to have to break through that fucking stigma in people's mind, and it always made me go, where the fuck do they come up with this shit? Because they're clearly worried about the wrong shit, right? But it's conditioning. Their whole life, watch out for interest rates. Even the feds right now, they tell you on you watch CNBC, the Fed says, oh, well, you know, we're trying to stagnate inflation with raising the interest rates. Like, what the fuck, right? So you're trying to make us pay more money because you printed more money. What the fuck does that even make sense in? And what anomaly with the CERN fucking Large Hadron Collider going off backwards in Nashville on July 4th, does that even fucking make sense, right? But this is not an economic lesson because some of you are so good at math, you found a way for that to make sense. You go, numbers don't lie unless you manipulate them this way. But anyway, here's the thing, okay? I say all that because the shit don't work anymore. It's obsolete. All that arguing and playing hardball. Let me tell you, I'm shopping for jets. And as an amateur shopping for jets, okay, and I've been shopping for years. We have some leases on some, but it's like cars. I'm always shopping for cars, always shopping for another jet that we can maybe do something with, right, or something that we actually like that we want to buy. And so anyway, I'm shopping for them, and every one of them says call for price. Now, first of all, I know why, because they have a tail number on it, and then somebody could look up and see who owns the tail number and how much they want for that, and blah, 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 and they kind of put some pieces together. But as an amateur, I didn't know that. Right? As an amateur, I didn't know that. I thought they were just trying to, and they still are to a degree, trying to rope me in to call about price, right? It's not anonymity for the owner of the plane, which now I know that that's a part of it. But it was like, it just seemed like they were always trying to bait me in. So as a consumer, I never even looked at nothing except for what the prices were, which you could only get from the manufacturer's website. So guess what? I might be a little bit smarter going into this place and negotiating for this jet than the motherfucker there because they hid information from me. Now I know why, but as an amateur, I did not understand why. But they hid information to me, forcing me to go to the manufacturer to get the information myself, which probably means I'm armed and more dangerous with information than the salesperson there. Maybe, maybe not, right? Because it is avionics, but I am saying I do understand the specs very well and how this shit works, and they probably don't. I understand everything, ins and outs of financing, purchasing, tax benefits, and all this other stuff that they may or may not. So when I walk in there, if they're trying to talk a certain way with me, then I understand that either A, they're under old school selfish tactics, or B, they're just not as informed because I'm going to go in there armed with all the information because that's how people my age and under roll into situations these days. So if you think that you're just going to like, because, you know, even right now in the Rolex world, right, people say, oh, Rolexes are scarce. You know, you got to pay top dollar for them. It's like, I'm not, and the people that buy them from me aren't paying top dollar for them. Why? Oh, well, it's very simple. I understand how the process works, right? I could go in, I understand what the manufacturing price is, I understand what the markup plus tax, title, license, and shipping out the door. I package that all up, find what people need, and make it very easy for them. In the meantime, I connect with really cool people who share a likeness for watches, which allows me to make new connections, friends, referral partners, and sometimes occasionally even clients, right? Just because of the fact that we both like watches and got something in common. So now think about that for a second. That's modern day sales. You see, I'm going to run through what I said again. See, I might take a picture of this Rolex Pepsi and put it on my podcast. You know what I'm saying? And say, hey, make me an offer for this watch. You want a Rolex Pepsi? Right now, this is, if you can't see, it's the Oyster bracelet. It is a 2022 model. I'll take $25,000 for it, right? So, do I sell watches? Not really. You know, $25,000 is what I've got into this thing. Maybe give or take $500, $1,000, right? But it's going to cost me shipping to send it to one of you guys if you end up buying it. Okay, if not, I'll wear it. It's no big deal either way. But hear me out. So I'm not really into selling watches, but they get attention, right? And then these watches open doors for me, not necessarily for me to sell something to somebody, but for me to meet somebody that's got $20, $25, $30, $35,000 in their bank account because they're successful, so that I've got somebody else that I can share the successful conversations with, or somebody else that I can send referrals to that I know has had some level of success because they can afford to splurge on something as frivolous as a timepiece, right? It's like timepieces are like art. The only reason that they appreciate and hold value is because of the perceived value that we have as salespeople, professionals, entrepreneurs, and grown-ass men that like toys, right? Like that's the real truth. But that's modern day sales. It's not saying me coming in, and let's say that I'm selling phone sites to CEOs. I'm going and I'm sending DMs on LinkedIn like every other schmuck out there going, hey, can I borrow a couple minutes of your time today to talk about a great product that I have that'll change your mind or change your life in just a matter of 10 minutes or less? You could have a website put together with no tech training and no needed tech support and none of that stuff. We could just make it super easy for you. We actually can build it for you. We'll do whatever you want. Just give me a chance. Can I talk to you? Will you let me call you? Will you give me your phone number? Can I text you? Can I send you an email? I got a carrier page. I got a frog with your name on it. Like motherfuckers just like, that's what people normally do. They're just trying to interrupt you and do everything they can to just get a second of your time. Meanwhile, I'm like, hey, anybody want to buy a Lamborghini? I put a picture of my car up. It's time to sell it. It's like, hey, anybody want to buy a Lamborghini? I got this 2020 Lamborghini Evo for sale for $325,000. It's got 10,000 miles on it. If you want it, just make me an offer, right? Then all of a sudden, the people that are making offers, maybe I've only got one car, I don't have 10, but guess what? I got 10 people that can afford that car that are now in my network that are hitting me up in my DM making offers on my car, and I don't have to sell to the highest bidder. I can just sell for the same price that I said I do. I don't have to screw people over and get in a bidding war and try to take all the money or whatever. I can still, but guess what? It allowed me to make a connection to other people that I would have never made had I said, hey, let me sell you some phone site software, right? No, instead it's like, hey, I got this Lamborghini for sale. If you're a successful CEO, this may be the car that you want, right? They hit me up. I do this all the time. This is an imaginary fucking scenario, by the way. Then they hit me up and they're like, hey, I want to buy the car. I send them the car. They send me a wire for the fucking car. Guess what happens next, right? I got somebody that I know is capable of sending a $300,000 fucking wire to me. Guess what? I'm going to keep that connection open. Hey, man, what do you do for a living that allows you to just have that kind of money laying around? Oh, I do plumbing. Oh, I do electrical. Oh, I do roofing, which is usually what it is, right? Like something to that level. There's usually somebody in the trades in my industry. I don't have a lot of influencers and shit like that as clients. We have a few, but even those are the business influencers, not so much the ass-shaking Instagram models, right? And so the majority of the people in Apex are plumbers, electricians, roofers, construction people, real estate agents, investors, that kind of stuff, like not blue collar, but like your black t-shirt crew. That's what I'm gonna call it. Right? Not blue collar or white collar, we're just the black t-shirt crew. But I say that because if I try to approach them selling software, it's not really that sexy. It's not gonna get their attention. They really don't care. But now I've got a conversation with 5 or 6 CEOs that can afford to buy this Lamborghini. It's like, by the way, what do you guys do to generate leads for your company? I'm not gonna hit them up front with that. I'm gonna kindle the relationship. But when it gets down to it, that's the question I'm asking. Hey man, how do you guys get your leads, right? What software are you using to generate them? Are you teaching your guys how to make funnels? What's a funnel? I'm glad you asked. Then it leads me naturally, organically down a path, and they trust me because I didn't beat their heads off or get them in a bidding war on the car. And the ones that I didn't sell the car to, I'm like, hey man, the next one I'm gonna put you on my list and I'm gonna let you know first. As you can see, they go fast. Sorry that didn't work out. By the way, what do you do for a living that allows you to have $300,000 that you could buy this car just laying around in disposable income? Oh, I flip houses. Oh, that's fucking great. I'm always looking for somebody to do hard money deals with, and it opens a conversation, a dialogue, and that Lamborghini that I drove for free now may make me money from an investment standpoint. It may make me money from a client standpoint. It may make me money from a referral standpoint. It may make me money from a whole bunch of fucking standpoints, and to do this shit on a regular basis. That's modern selling. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, it's fucking nice, Ryan. You're rich. You can use Rolexes and fucking Lamborghinis as baits for other rich guys. Okay, so what'd you do in the beginning? Now, this is where we're going to dig in. This is where I'm going to help you guys out. I'm just giving you the high level breakdown of what I just gave you, right? Like this is the level you can get to where it's, right now it's Lamborghinis and Rolexes. Before long, I hope it's jets. Hey, I got this citation for sale. Who's looking for it, right? Somebody that can wire me $7 million is probably a lot fucking cooler than somebody who can wire me $300,000, right? Cooler in a sense of having a connection to. Okay, just keep that in mind. So my thought process here is the higher the luxury vehicle, the higher the luxury item, I should say art, any of that shit, the more qualified the prospect is to do something at a bigger, higher level with whatever it is that's in my agenda, okay? Right? This is how I'm trying to get you to think. But what did I do granularly to get started? In the beginning, I didn't sell to high net worth individuals because I myself was not a high net worth individual, so it wouldn't have made any fucking sense. There's one thing that I've always done. It's one of my core values. It's Rewire episode number 1. It's sell on the level you're on. So I started selling loan officers how to do $2 million in business a month. That's not $2 million in income. That's $2 million in volume. Right now, my house is worth $2 million, so that could be one deal a month, right? Back then, that was probably 3 to 4 mortgages a month would make it to $2 million in most markets. Some places you live where, houses 80, 90, 100 grand or whatever. But for the most part, it was 3 to 4 loans a month. So I started teaching guys how they could add an additional 3 to 4 loans a month to their pipeline. Nothing dramatic, but I knew that's what I could do. I was easily doing $2 million a month, so I knew it was something that I could promise to them. So my offer to them was real simple. It wasn't, hey, let me give you training, blah, 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 blah. Hey, let me give you training. No, say, hey, let me introduce you to real estate agents that can help give you referrals to add an extra $2 million a month. Now, this didn't cost me anything. What I did was I networked with all these real estate agents. How did I network with the real estate agents? Hear me out. I went and found local, what they would call today micro-influencer real estate celebrities, like the top producer in the marketplace, for example. And then I would go and I would put together a gathering to where they would teach a course, right? In a course in the sense of like in a classroom, right? This was pre-internet marketing and shit like that, right? Or the way that it is now. So I would get this micro influencer to go to the title company and we would put on a course for 4 or 5 other real estate agents, okay? Then with those real estate agents, I would get to know each and every one of them and I would ask how it could help them, blah, blah, blah. I would send them leads and generate blah, blah. Then I would introduce them to the loan officers that paid me. Okay, so my value to attract these loan officers was to have real estate agents because that's what they want. Okay, so think about this. I want loan officers as clients so I can help them make more money. That's what I'm teaching them, right? I know that loan officers need, in order to make more money, more real estate agents. Real estate agents, I don't got shit to sell them, so I become friends with them and infiltrate their marketplace. No questions asked, 100% bonding, trust, interest, and desire. Then when I, who stand not to make any gain from the referral exchange, I'm not saying let me introduce you to Cade because he's going to pay me 3% on the back end. I never asked for money on the back end. I just wanted the people as a client on the front end. So I make the connection, hero to the client, hero to the real estate agent, right? And now all of a sudden I'm using, and the real estate agents never realize this, but I'm using the real estate agents as bait, much like I use Rolexes and Lamborghinis now to be able to get me in front of my audience. So let me break this down for you on an even bigger level, because some of you are going, holy shit, that sounds like a lot of work. Just fucking, this is why we just make cold calls, right? But it's not a lot of work. It takes building relationships. That's the work. And look, I fuck relationships up. People make me mad. I pop off. I yell at people. There ain't probably nobody in my office I ain't lost my shit on, right? I'm a person that is an extremist that's committed to excellence, and I'm working on it. I'm going to start going through therapy. I literally just hired Dr. Pratt again today to try to work on that, because the more I commit to it and the more extreme, the more I got to learn to tone my reactions to it down. Now, I say that shit in all seriousness because when you're going through the... Damn it, I lost my train of thought. I hate it when I started talking about Dr. Pratt, and I started thinking, damn, I really got to go through that shit again. It wasn't easy. But what was I talking before that? Yeah, building relationships, right? Prior to going and seeing Dr. Pratt the first time, I was a type person that burned relationships down, and it wasn't that I wanted to, but I felt in my mind, my little hamster wheel of a mind, it was that if I got rid of you first, then you couldn't abandon me, because I learned is that I have abandonment issues from being adopted and shit like that, right? You're like, wait, how are we getting in this into sales here? I'm gonna come back to it. But I realized that, and so I stopped burning in relationships. But once I started realizing the true value in relationships, not expecting everybody to value the same thing as me, but have value in the relationship, it changed the game for me. So I started developing relationships with the real estate agents and then making those connections and fostering those relationships with my clients, the loan officers. Eventually, here's what happens. The real estate agents say, man, this guy's so good at managing relationships. How the hell can you help us find more loan officers? How can we be clients of yours and you connect us to more loan officers? And I'm like, imagine that. Well, check it out. Now they want me to double dip, but they're asking for it. Well, fuck it, So I start showing real estate agents, okay? What do real estate agents look for? Investors, right? Because investors are repeat buyers for them, right? And loan officers love them too. Why? Because loan officers repeat doing the loans for investors. So what do? I start joining investor clubs. I start becoming friends with guys like Kent Clothier. I start becoming friends with guys like Dan Fleischman. And now all of a sudden I'm tied into all these investment clubs. And now all of a sudden the realtors, they're like, hey, Stewman's got the investors. The loan officers are like, he's got the realtors and the investors. Then they don't leave. Some of them are still with us today. Then I went out and I looked and I said, who else can I help? Credit repair guys, come on. Jose Rodriguez shows up. Then I start, hey, who else can I help? Business owners? Oh, shit, yeah. Hey, entrepreneurs, come on in and show up. We start having these amazing people like Patrick Bolaño show up that come through in the food truck business that are just revolutionizing the industry, right? All that attracting top talent, but it started at a granular level of who is ideal prospect of my ideal prospect. You need to write that down. Who is the ideal prospect of my ideal prospect? They say the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't know what the fuck that means, right? But the ideal prospect of your ideal prospect should be your friend. That should be my ideal prospect's a loan officer. Their ideal prospect's a real estate agent. My ideal prospect's a real estate agent to go bring to that loan officer. Okay, so now it's flashy watches and cars and jets, but it started off using literally, for lack of a better phrase, human capital, right? I'm capitalizing on the relationships I have with other humans in order to make connections, which made me have to become a relationship type of person, which, now I'm catching feelings over fucking shit. Anyway, that's a skill in itself. So many salespeople, and I know that this has been a longer episode than normal, but so many salespeople, they value sales skills over people skills. And then they wonder why they don't ever get money, because it requires people to pay you. See, when you develop people skills over sales skills, the sales take care of themselves. When you start to think like the mind of your prospect and how you can truly benefit and help them, they start, unless they're complete sociopaths, and maybe not to the level that you do, but they start to want to help you too. They want to stay your client. They want to stay loyal. They want to send referrals. But it's not until you're thinking service first with them. See, so many people, they want to work on their sales skills. Say, oh, what's the best CRM? What's the best follow-up? Should I email? Should I text? Should I send a video? It was like, first of all, work on your people skills. Because none of that shit matters. Because if you truly understand people skills, then you'll know that, hey, this person likes text messages. I'm going to put that in my CRM. This person said clearly they prefer email. I'm going to put that in my CRM, right? People skills allow you to profile people, not just try to fucking ear rape people and get them in, berate them into fucking buying your shit from you like so many of you are hoping they do. They show up at the lot informed with a coupon and a bunch of paper, and you guys are like, hey, welcome in. Here's the high-priced purple gremlin we're trying to sell over here. Like, knock that shit out. The consumer's educated. Right? What we got to do if we're going to stand out is we got to figure out what's the highest way that we can serve them. How can we bring them what they want? You might say, as a car salesman, all they want is a car. What the fuck am I going to be able to bring them? Cheap insurance, homie. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Cheap insurance. That's it. And then what happens there? Oh, you get an insurance agent or 2 or 10 that you're friends with that you can get cheap insurance from. And then guess what happens? Every time somebody gets in a wreck and they call that insurance agent because they need another car, if that insurance agent ain't sending them directly to you, fire his fucking ass or her ass and go find you another insurance agent. You guys got to figure out the ideal prospect of my prospect is my prospect and go get them. Now, I told you in the beginning of the show that there were 2 things that you needed in order to close sales. Okay, y'all thought I forgot, didn't you? Okay, he's over here smiling. He's like, that son of a bitch, I always come back around to it, comedy sets and everything else. Number 1 is you got to have confidence. Listen, if you are not confident when you make a proposal to a prospect, like we can smell fear as human beings, right? I watched this show called Bright, and it's these aliens, and they're called orcs. And it's the first cop orc, and orcs are typically like what we would say like Bloods or Crips, like bad guys. They're typically gangsters, Hell's Angels, like Sons of Anarchy type of things, and because they're aliens. And then the partner, the other cop, is Will Smith, right? And so in this, Will Smith's lying to this orc, and the orc goes, I know you're lying because I can smell it, right? You humans are so stupid that when you don't think we can smell when you're lying. And I'm like, oh shit, right? Well, I say that because we can smell when somebody's not confident. And we can also smell when somebody's got malicious intentions. So if you slide a proposal over across the desk to somebody and you're not sure if they should take it and you're a little worried, it's like he who speaks first eats last, right? Like all this shit that we tell each other, people can sense that. But if you're confident, you slide it over. Hey, this is as good as it's going to get, buddy. If you don't take this one, I guess what? You need to take your ass the fuck out of here because you wasted all of our time. Now either sign or ride, man. Let's go. All right? So when you hit them with, you don't have to be rude like that. I'm obviously exaggerating for the purpose of radio here. But when you can hit them with some confidence, right? When I'm confident that I've got the right solution, their confidence is in me because they don't know. They don't know what the true cost of a mortgage is. They don't know what the true cost of a fucking car is. They don't do this shit every day. They don't know what the fucking true cost of a watch is. They don't do this shit every day. They don't know what the true cost of a fucking podcast is. They don't do this shit every day, right? They're relying on my confidence and my fucking intelligence level to be able to confidently display to them that they can trust me, right? So how do you get confidence? From product knowledge, knowing your shit, right? Notice the average person goes, well, if I'm selling cars, who's the prospect of my prospect? Cheap insurance. Cheap insurance. That's the fucking first place to start at. Most people's like, oh, I guess I'll go hit the local business or talk to a real estate agent. Real estate agent's starving the fucking death. They ain't got time to send you a fucking car referral, right? But insurance agents, people got to pay that shit all the fucking time. People crash their cars all the time. People shopping new insurance all the time. People call their insurance guy to find out what the insurance on the new car that they want costs, right? That is the fucking hottest lead you can have as a car salesman. None of them fucking did it, but yet I did, and I sold a shitload of cars because of it, right? One day, one dude comes by, car dealership, with just a random business card. I call him, made a deal with him. Next thing you know, dude sends me 3 or 4 fucking deals a month, all 6 months that I worked there. It was great, right? One source. And they always needed a car because the motherfuckers got in a wreck, right? It wasn't true. They couldn't shop. What the fuck you gonna do? Walk the fuck out of here down 3 miles to Toyota? Good luck, motherfucker. Meanwhile, I'll have this Ford drive your... Anyway, I was never really like that. Externally, only inside. But the next thing you need, besides confidence, is empathy, okay? Empathy comes from listening. It's real simple. Confidence comes from product knowledge. Empathy comes from listening. If you shut the fuck up, listen to somebody's problem, listen to why they're there, why they got in a wreck, why they need a car, why they need cheaper insurance, whatever the fucking case may be, shut up, even if you already know the answer, even if you've already heard this before, let them know, let them feel like they vented to you. Like, listen, the only person that listens to people these days is a fucking therapist, and even they, if they could be on the phone, they would. And some of them on an iPad playing Tetris, not fucking writing notes like they appear to be. I'm just saying, it ain't what you think, you know. So, here's the deal. When you have empathy, it just means that you've listened to them. Empathy just means that you understand their situation. So how the fuck will they know that you understand their situation if you didn't listen to them explain their situation? So empathy comes from asking good questions and just listening. So when you compare empathy, understanding their situation, with confidence, right, product knowledge and how that can solve the problem in their situation, that's really the only 2 sales skills you need. Now, what you need to do is get good at marketing, putting shiny things, the prospect of your prospect, in front of your prospect so that you can get the business. That's what you need to start practicing on now, because that's the next evolution of sales. And you might say, no, man, fuck that. I'm going to make cold calls. Like, listen, none of my millionaire friends made cold calls. None of them. Just saying. Rise above.